everyone, and welcome to another episode of Neo Woman Podcast, where we share the journeys of women shaping the digital world. My name is Jocelyn Ferrara, Business Support Marketing Consultant for the US region at IBAM Neoris, and I'm so glad you're joining us. We do believe diverse voices are essential to innovation, and this is a space to amplify those voices. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Ashna Mathur. She spent 18 years in tech, leading global delivery teams, driving digital transformation, and even founding her own digital agency. Her story is all about impact, transformation, and purpose. But I love for our audience to hear it from you, Ashna. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to be part of the New Women podcast. I've heard a lot about it and I've seen a couple of podcasts in the past, so I'm really excited to be here. And as you know, my name is Archana Mathur. I'm currently Director Technology at Home Depot Canada. Um, Talking about myself, I'm really passionate about leveraging technology to solve real world business challenges and create meaningful experiences for the users. That's where my heart and soul lies. My journey in technology has been a little varied. I started up as a Java developer myself, and I when I joined technology as a developer, I thought I'm going to build or code a lot in future, and that I'm going to be a code ninja someday. But as life progresses, as projects came in, I gradually moved into project and program management. I started enjoying that journey much more, and eventually moved into solution consulting and leadership roles. Along the way, I realized that technology isn't just about coding tools or various systems. It's actually about understanding people and their needs and connecting the right technical solutions to make a real impact for businesses. So that's how I started growing into this from a technology standpoint, being into leadership. So before my current role, I spent several years, as Jocelyn mentioned, into running my own entrepreneurial ventures. One of them was a digital agency. And I also worked with IBM on their customer experience solutions. So it was a journey. But since I've joined Home Depot Canada in year 2020, it's been 5 years now. I've worked across different areas from e-commerce to store applications and technology support, etc. But my focus has always been towards, aligning technology with business goals to deliver the best experience. Um, that's been my goal, and that's my brief introduction. And I'm, again, as I said, I'm honored to be part of New Women and a platform that is dedicated to women, to celebrate women, to those who are shaping the future of technology. So I'm really looking forward to sharing more of from my stories as well.
Wow, Arshna, that was a really great sneak peek about your story. Well, all right, let's dive in. I want to start by asking you, was there a particular moment when you felt this is where I belong? And what made that moment so defining for you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jocelyn. I think belongingness for me really came from one of those times when I was in an early entrepreneurship days. As I said, I founded a digital agency. One of our missions was to understand my client, their businesses, and help them succeed. That was my mission. So my belief has always been that technology wasn't just, as I said, just not about coding. It's about understanding the problem and solving a problem, right? Creating a real impact. So one of the moments that defined me was one of our clients who they were into real estate, and digital was pretty much last thought for them, right? Because they were into construction, building, they wanted to sell, but they were selling through the traditional market strategy. So they came to us and we talked about how we can enable them completely digital. So we spent sleepless nights with them, including the client, right? Like sitting with them, what's your problem, like where can we support you, what's your story, how can we narrate your story digitally to the customer. So we sleepless nights, countless coffees, whiteboarding, ideation, all of that. And in like after we went live in few weeks, we started seeing a lot of apartment bookings coming through them, and much faster than they expected. So it just made everyone so happy about the impact that we received. But one thing that I realized just after the night we released their campaigns, uh, that something which kind of stayed with me is, we don't really just deliver projects, we deliver possibilities, essentially, right? When we leverage technology, we are expanding those possibilities faster to the market, to the customer. So that was the defining moment. And this is when I felt this is where I belong. This is where I can bridge the vision and um, execute the passion and that the customers have, and bring it to the customers just by bringing the right ideas and outcome that really matters. I hope I've answered the question, but that was the moment for me.
That was the perfect answer. That's such a meaningful way to start, Ashna, because I think many of us remember like those turning points, the ones that quietly but clearly affirm we are on the right path. And you describe it perfectly, and I can imagine like all the story that you're describing makes me like think about knowing your client, empathizing with them, and that makes like the difference on knowing how to act and I'm on the right place to act, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And now, hearing you talk about finding that clarity in your career, was there a woman who inspired you early on or somewhere along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. Rosalind, we all, I think, interact every day with a lot of women in our lives, and a lot of them inspire. But I would like to talk about one of the stories of a woman. Her name was Anandita. I worked with her in IBM, and she's now a director in marketing at Adobe in India. Um, she has been one, what do you say, a ray of light, or someone who you really look up to. So I kind of do that for her, because, and I'll tell you why. So it was a time when I think the grounds beneath for me were like shaky. I felt, oh, I'm not standing straight. This is when most of the people judge you, they doubt you, or they pick upon you, especially because you're a woman, right? And you're a woman, especially in technology. If you're a woman, you're basically probably one in a room of 20, right? So those are challenging environments that you're standing in. But instead of stepping away, she stepped closer to me. She stood beside me when it really mattered the most. She didn't just listen to what I was saying in my words, she actually carefully heard what I said. So she didn't just acknowledge my ideas, or or yeah, we heard you, kind of a thing. She actually valued them, and she made sure that my standing on the table is solid, and then everybody else is listening to me what I'm saying. So um, whenever, and in fact, at many times when situation demanded, she fought for me. Sometimes, she fought alongside me. That is the strength that the what she did kind of inspired me. Like, it was a turning point in my life, because she reminds me that leadership is not just about guiding people or telling people do this and do that, but it's about standing in the storm with someone until they find out their way, right? So that experience shaped me, or shaped my own philosophy as well. Like, trust and support women, stand with them in their battles. I don't know how many of them are like daily fighting so many battles. So if you're there even in one of them, that's going to be changing moment for people. So today I feel I carry the lessons with her, from her, what I see. I think I tell the women in my team as well that I see you, I believe in you, and I'm standing with you, no matter what. Yeah.
That was so inspiring and wholesome to hear, honestly, Ashna. I love really hearing about the women who shaped us. For me, it means so much because even in my first few years in my career, not like I have a lot of them, right? But I have the privilege of working with and being led by incredible women. And honestly, it's been a path filled with learning, but also admiration, like seeing women in all kinds of industries, breaking barriers and opening doors. And that's why I believe representation is such a huge factor in driving both personal and professional growth, and also giving that trust and confidence to feel like we own this place on the table and we own our, I don't know, our choices, our decision, and our voices on something huge, because we are important as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But okay, that was such an amazing way to start our questions. Now let's keep going, Ashna. I'm really curious, what mindset has helped you lead through complexity while staying grounded in your purpose?
Well, that's a good question. I'll just say a couple of words and then I'll narrate my story as well. But I think I very strongly believe in leading with empathy. That's one of my core strengths and core principles, I would say. That is it for me, it's not just a leadership trait. It's the compass that guides me through the complexity while keeping me anchored to the purpose. That's my that go to. So in any challenging situations, there are kind of always choices, right? Multiple people asking, business needs something, or customer needs something, or the teams are looking for support, right? So there are different stakeholders. In my view, it is very important. It's a simple but very powerful thing. Listen deeply and understand the whys, like not just listen deeply and understand the whys. I really follow the 5 why theory, where I kind of keep asking questions, and sometimes I do get on nerves of people, but for me it is very important to understand where they're coming from, why they're asking this, and then if they're asking this, why behind that as well, right? So until I feel that okay, I've deep dived to the surface of it, I don't stop, and that for me is empathy. So it doesn't mean like avoiding tough decisions sometimes, right? It means making them with full understanding of the impact on people. That's how I look at it. That's one. Now, number two in my life as a second principle is being an entrepreneur. So becoming an entrepreneur in the past has made me a permanent entrepreneur in general in personal life. But now, since I'm part of the organization, I really work like an entrepreneur with my entrepreneurial spirits, right? So that means I think I treat challenges as opportunities. I approach decisions as if I was running my own business. And that makes me curious, innovative, enthusiastic, motivated to build more, to build everlasting value to the organization, and just and I empower and encourage everybody in my team to do the same. Yeah.
Wow, that was advice for me all complexity, because I'm taking notes, because that's really true. It makes a lot of sense in my head. I know for all of the people that are listening to us as well, but staying rooted in clarity and empathy, as you said, really does shift how you lead. I mean, I think more leaders are realizing nowadays that a strong direction doesn't have to come at the cost of emotional intelligence. Like, listening and owning your space. And something that you said about having questions, question everything. All questions are important. And I think we discovered that, I don't know, with the flow of our work and all you said about owning our projects and being an entrepreneur, like acting as if was your I don't know, your your
Own business, yeah, your own stuff, yeah.
your whole business makes you act different, like in a way that you're entering your whole mindset on it and
That's
being
right.
focused and having like that passion and empathy with the project is so important. And now with what you just shared about leadership direction, um, I totally agree. But let's talk about agile. What's your take on how agile thinking can empower and include more women in tech beyond traditional team frameworks?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've been a big agile promoter, being a Scrum Master myself for a long time. I think agile is more than just a methodology. I think it's a mindset, that kind of embraces the flexibility, collaboration, continuous learning, all of them together. And I strongly feel it is not something that you need to just implement in technology, but in life as well, right? Because change is the only constant, and agile kind of is the best way to adapt to that change. So for the principles that create an environment where diverse voices can be heard, ideas can evolve rapidly, and teams can adapt to change, that in my thought is agile, or is about being agile. For specifically, because we're talking about women in technology, I think women naturally embody many of these qualities that agile very beautifully put in place. One of them is flexibility. I think we are the most flexible people on earth. Empathy, as I said, I think in general women are more empathetic, very strong communication. Most of women have the ability to communicate very clearly, and ability to balance multiple priorities, similar to what we do at home, at work, at multiple places, right? Mentally we are very wired to do that. So I think agile framework allows these strengths to shine. Um, Another thing is servant leadership. Again, something which Agile brings up, and we as women are very strong in doing that, because we keep others first. That's what we generally, as human being or as nature of women does. We keep others first in our lives. So that is servant leadership. I think most of these are the unique perspective that women already have, and they can bring in terms of Agile. Beyond like traditional team structure, agile thinking can foster inclusive culture, which is another important aspect of it. It makes you feel safe, it makes you feel inclusive, it allows you to take risks, innovate and lead, right? So I think this iterative process that agile brings in, it values collaboration, and removes the whole command versus control aspect of traditional workflow. I think in a sense, I would say agile thinking is one of those catalysts which which kind of allows you to be inclusive, innovative, adaptive, empathetic, and then create your space for to thrive ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Just as you said, agile is more than just a way of working. Like you said, it is a mindset.
Mindset, yeah.
Encourages voice, iteration, adaptability. All the aspects that you mentioned are just how women act in our normal days, but also in our space of work and everything that surrounded us, and it's beautiful to acknowledge that now.
Mm.
Something that, I don't know, in the past it won't be as, I don't know, recognizable as today, but having to, I don't know, that power of saying, I can multitask because I'm a woman that, I don't know, I study, I work, I am a mother, I am a sister, I am a daughter, and I also have, I don't know, another hobby. I love to paint, but also I work in tech, and it doesn't have like, I don't know, something in common, but I'm a whole world inside of me, and I can, you know, like present that on my workspace, and on my methodology of working is beautiful to see that in women specifically. And that being said, Ashna, to wrap up with a question we love, what advice will you give to a young woman who's curious about tech but unsure if she belongs?
Okay, that's a good question, and I don't know if I'm really at a place to give advice, but this is my 2 cents, I guess. I think I want to keep it very simple, but it's important in everybody's life is to be curious. If you're curious about technology and you have passion for problem solving, if you see challenges as opportunities to make a difference for greater good, then you absolutely belong here. That's then you should know that this is your place. I would say most of the women generally doubt or have the self doubt to say whether I can do it, I cannot do it. So don't let the those doubts hold you back. Never do that. Whether or not technology, just don't let your doubts hold you back. It's okay sometimes to test waters. It's okay to take risks, and yeah, it's okay to fail sometimes, right? But fail fast, learn quickly, and keep pushing forward. That's like I said, it's agile. That's being agile, and that's what we should be doing in our lives. So um, sometimes there are a lot of failures, but not every failure is a setback. It's a step closer to maybe your success, maybe something which makes wants to, like, this is your God's way to tell you this is how you need to learn. But I think, yes, it's okay to fail. So never be scared of trying or scared of failures. So again, I would like to summarize it this way. What I want you to carry is, you don't have to have all the answers to start with, but you must have to have the courage to begin somewhere. I think that would be my advice. Trust your journey. Whatever you have, just trust your journey, and technology will unfold, and you'll the next steps will tell you where to go. But just stay courageous. That's what I would say.
That's beautiful, Ashna. I think the sense of what you said of belonging is something we all search for, specifically in tech. And
Mm-hmm.
words are going to stay with me, and I know that they'll resonate with someone out there who needed to hear them today specifically. Well, thank you so much for this conversation, Ashna. It's been truly inspiring and full of perspective and knowledge. Before we wrap up, I love to give you the space to share any final thoughts or a message with our audience.
No, I would firstly thanks a lot to you and Jocelyn for giving this platform, allowing me to share my journey and insights. I would lastly, I would just say, so leadership, especially for women in technology, is really a path filled with challenges, growth, and immense possibility. So, um, like those moments, sometimes there's a lot of intense work, but trust yourself, trust your mentors, lead with empathy. I think these were the things or themes that I wanted to share with you. um, I would say, just like I said earlier, start curious, stay courageous, and own your journey. Those will be my final words for this group today. And together, I think as women in technology, we can break barriers, build inclusive spaces, and create lasting impact. Um, that's my final words, I would say. And let's keep doing this. Stay encouraged, stay positive.
I love hearing you about approach to leadership and how you carved your own path in tech. And I think it's really inspiring, and I will be following all your advice, and I'm already taking notes about it and starting to apply it on my career. And to everyone tuning in, thank you for being part of New Woman. We hope this leaves you feeling seen, inspired, and ready to take up space. Thank you so much, Ashna. Until next time.
Thank you. Thanks, Jocelyn.